You are going to die. Not today, perhaps, not tomorrow, but the clock is moving. Right now, as you watch this, seconds are leaving you, and they are not coming back. Marcus Aurelius knew this. He was the most powerful man on earth, emperor of Rome, commander of armies, master of nations, and every single morning he sat alone and wrote to himself. Not about conquest, not about power. He wrote about how to be better, how to suffer well, how to face a world determined to break him and remain whole. He had no guarantee of tomorrow, neither do you. So the question is not whether life will be hard in 2026. It will be. The question is, will you be ready? These are the 7 Stoic rules that will make you unstoppable. Not because the world will become easier, but because you will become harder to destroy. Rule 1. Master. What is yours alone? The Stoics called it the dichotomy of control. Epictetus, a man born into slavery, a man who owned nothing, built his entire philosophy on this single idea. There are things within your power and things that are not. Confuse them, and you will suffer endlessly. Your opinion, your effort, your response to pain, these are yours. The economy, other people's judgments, the news cycle, the algorithm, your past, these are not. In 2026, the world will throw noise at you without mercy. Social media will tell you that you are behind, that others are winning, that you are not enough. And if you chase those voices, if you spend your energy on things you cannot govern, you will exhaust yourself fighting shadows. Do this instead. Every morning, ask yourself one question. Is this within my control? If yes, act with full force. If no, release it completely. This is not weakness. This is precision. Warriors do not swing swords at the wind. Rule 2. Welcome discomfort. As your teacher Seneca wrote, it is not that I am brave. It is that I know what is worth fearing. We live in the age of comfort. One click delivers food to your door. Entertainment is infinite. Pain can be numbed in 1,000 ways, and yet people have never been more anxious, more fragile, more lost. Because comfort is not safety. Comfort is slow decay. The Stoics practiced voluntary hardship, fasting when they weren't hungry, sleeping on the floor when they had a bed, walking in the cold when warmth was available, not to punish themselves, but to prove to themselves that they could endure. When you choose difficulty before it chooses you, it loses its power over you. The man who has sat with hunger is not afraid of missing a meal. The woman who has trained through pain is not stopped by discomfort. Start small. Take the cold shower. Skip the easy option. Do the hard thing first. Do this daily, and within months, you will be someone unrecognizable. Someone the old you would have been afraid to become. Rule 3. Act without needing applause. Marcus Aurelius asked himself, what if no one ever knows what you did? Would you still do it? This is one of the most dangerous questions you can ask in the modern world, because the modern world is built entirely around being seen, around likes, validation, recognition. We have confused performance with purpose. The Stoic does the right thing in the dark. He works when no one is watching. She keeps her word when breaking it would cost her nothing. They do good not for the reward, but because integrity is its own reward. In your life, finish what you start even when the excitement fades. Keep promises you made to yourself in private. Work on the project no one knows about yet. Build in silence. The tree that survives the storm is the one whose roots went deep when no one was watching. Rule 4. See things as they are, not as you fear them. The Stoics called this objective representation stripping away the story you add to events and seeing only the bare fact. You did not get the promotion. That is the fact. The story that you are a failure, that life is unfair, that it's over. That is your addition. And it is your addition that destroys you, not the event itself. A relationship ends, a business fails, a diagnosis arrives. These are hard truths, but the suffering that paralyzes us is almost always the catastrophic narrative we build around the truth. Train yourself to separate fact from interpretation. When something painful happens, write it down in the most neutral language possible. Then ask, what is actually true here, and what am I adding? You will find that reality, stripped of fear, is almost always survivable. Rule 5. Remember that this, too, shall pass, memento mori. Remember, you will die. The Stoics were obsessed with this, not out of morbidity, but out of liberation. When you remember that everything is temporary, your pain, your joy, your season of struggle, your moment of triumph, you stop clinging. You stop resisting. You move through rather than getting stuck in. The entrepreneur who loses everything and rebuilds, he survived because he knew loss was not permanent. The grieving parent who finds a reason to live again, she endured because she trusted that the sharpest agony softens with time. Nothing in your life is the final chapter while you are still breathing. Use this rule in both directions. When suffering, know it will pass. When thriving, appreciate it fully because it, too, will pass. Impermanence is not your enemy. It is the very thing that makes each moment matter. Rule 6. Choose your response in the space between. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies your power. In that space lies your growth. You receive an insult. Something inside you rises, hot, immediate, wanting to strike back. That feeling is not you, that is biology. The Stoic knows that the first reaction belongs to nature, but the second belongs to reason. Viktor Frankl, imprisoned in Nazi concentration camps, held on to this idea to survive. If a man in Auschwitz could choose his response, you can choose yours when someone cuts you off in traffic, when your colleague dismisses your idea, when life delivers a blow you didn't deserve. Practice the pause, breathe before you speak, wait before you send the message, sleep before you make the decision. The person who masters the space between stimulus and response masters their entire life. Rule 7. Live as if you chose this. This is the hardest rule, and the most powerful. The Stoics called it amor fati, love of fate. Not acceptance, not tolerance, love. To look at your circumstances, every wound, every setback, every scar, and say, this is exactly what I needed. Not because it doesn't hurt, but because resistance to what is already true costs more than it returns. The child who grew up without enough, that scarcity forged his hunger. The woman who was told she wasn't smart enough, that doubt became her fuel. The man who lost the career he built for a decade, that destruction made room for what he was actually meant to build. You did not choose every circumstance, but you can choose what you make of it. You can choose to be the person who was shaped by hardship rather than shattered by it. Look back at the hardest thing you've endured. You are still here. That means it did not finish you. And what does not finish you is material. Conclusion of the charge. 7 rules, ancient in origin, urgent in application. Control what is yours. Seek discomfort. Act without applause. See clearly. Embrace impermanence. Master your response. Love your fate. These are not motivational phrases. They are a way of life, tested in war, in slavery, in exile, in loss, by men and women who had every reason to collapse and chose instead to stand. 2026 will not be gentle. No year ever is. But if you carry these principles, not just in your mind, but in your actions, in your daily choices, in your hardest moments, you will discover something the Stoics knew and the world has forgotten. You were never meant to be comfortable. You were meant to be unbreakable. Now go. The work is waiting, and so is the person you are becoming.